Hey everybody, welcome to the mentorship. Now we're gonna do our Q&A session. So please come up, ask anything you ever wanted to know about grants because that's why we're here. And I'm really intrigued on some certain things myself, but I want to give y'all opportunities to come up and ask the questions because what's the point of me just sitting up here and talking to her? I got her number. I can just call anytime and harass her some other time, right? And then so y'all might as well come up if you've ever been interested in grants, or if you are curious to see what your particular business or your particular area would be something that you can probably get a grant for it. Say if you're a veteran or you're disabled or you're a minority or you're a female or any of that stuff, right? I mean, there's opportunities for everybody out here. And there's probably even opportunities not even in those specific realms. They're probably just general opportunities too. So just ask the questions. So okay, so let's while people want to come up or before they come up, just put I have a question or raise your hand or something and I'll get to you. Right? If you want to come up and ask the question, you can ask the question. You don't have to just put it in the comment section. So let's go over real quickly. You put some stuff in the chat. Could you just kind of like reiterate? Because I got to copy and paste this stuff because I got to save it for myself, right? So
Looks like Raymond has a question that says, do you have to have a business to apply for grants? Raymond, that is a great question. And the answer is no. There's grant funding opportunity for those of you that are in the startup phase, which means that you just have an idea of the kind of business that you want to start. So you're going to look for those grant funding opportunities that are specifically geared towards startups. Now, there are other requirements that they may have. They may require you to have at least a business plan, to have your startup costs in mind of what it's going to cost you to get started, to be crystal clear about some of the vendors that you're going to use when you start your business. But not every grant funding opportunity requires you to have an LLC, an S Corp, so on and so forth. No, you can actually, again, have a vision, have an idea, but you have to apply for those grants that are specifically geared towards startups. So that's a really, really good question. I also wanted to add one other thing to that, because I know it's going to come up. Do you have to be a nonprofit in order to get access to grant funding?
I was kind of thinking that too.
Yeah. And the answer is no. No, you don't have to be a nonprofit in order to get access to grant funding. And I don't encourage people to go out there and get their nonprofit really quickly to get grants. There are just as many grants for nonprofits as they are for for-profit entities. But if you see a grant out there that's specifically for nonprofits, then you want to do the strategic partnerships where you can still apply for those particular opportunities.
Okay, then. Like I would think I was talking about this before, but is there like have you ever seen like a grant available and then like the time has elapsed and then you see the same grant pop up again? Is that like is that the same grant that didn't get filled before, or is it just like the funds just went to allocate to something else and they're just like redoing it and it's like a whole new pot or something like that?
No, that's a really, really good question. So when you get a copy of the grant funding list, you'll notice that it has like a section of the grant list that has grants with the word ongoing. And what that means is that sometimes they give grants every single month. So it's a big pot of funding that they have to disperse over a certain amount of time, as opposed to doing a big grant like $1 million at one time. They'll disperse it over a certain amount of time. So no, it's not that they allocate the funds to something else. It's that the grant is like an ongoing grant once a month, once a quarter, or sometimes they do it twice a year. Now, if you see a grant funding opportunity and you missed a deadline, you're not prepared to apply for that grant, can I encourage you to join the mailing list of that organization or that particular person that's offering the grant, whether it's Venmo or whatever corporation, so that when that grant opens back up again, guess who's the first person to get notified about that opportunity? It's you, because you're a part of their mailing list.
Yeah, I'm a part of, I think, Hello Alice. I'm sure that's a really
Yes,
popular one. But sometimes
yes,
I get bombarded with so many messages from them, and But I
yeah,
do like
yeah.
what you said, like when you send out the monthly list, I think it's a little better too, because it's almost like I don't want the fluff, because like one thing about Hello Alice, in my opinion, they're like they'll send you stuff like 2 or 3 times a day, and you're just like, okay, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. And then there'll be like a random grant at the bottom. And then I'll look at it and they'll be like,
You
like,
missed it.
oh yeah, I missed it, or it's like, minority women in California. And I'm just like, man, I don't need this, right? But one thing about the list that it's whatever you can just read the list and say, okay, I can use this one, I can do this one, I can do this one. And now if I allocate my, 4 or 5 hours on Friday, now I say, okay, cool. I can just put numbers by them or something like that. Okay, cool. I need to hit 3, 7, 9, 15, 12, whatever.
Right.
And I can just go through and apply it like that way too, which actually
And
makes.
that's why we do so many grants. That's why it's 251, because I wanted to be able to give diversity of all kinds of grants for all kinds of entrepreneurs, whether you're a startup, you're seasoned, you're a nonprofit, you're a for-profit. I wanted to kind of give a vast variety.
Okay. Ms. Kim asked the question, do you find many grant opportunities in a 509 nonprofit?
Yes, and thank you so much for asking that question. And so I currently have this huge contract with one of the largest nonprofit agencies in the country. They brought me on board because they are a nonprofit agency that actually give grants to other nonprofits. And Kim, get this, they give the grant for 4 years straight, which is amazing, right? And so my job in working with these nonprofit agencies is to teach them how to get multi-year grants. That's number one. The second thing is to teach them how to diversify, because again, grants are just one source, right? We have multiple different sources, multiple different resources that's kind of feeding you as a business owner, as a nonprofit agency. But yes, there are a lot of grant funding opportunities. So you're going to look for those that are for your specific nonprofit, your industry, and the demographic of individuals that you are actually servicing.
Okay. Hey, she got the answers now. You got to ask though. Don't, hey, I'm gonna tell y'all, this is the story of my life, Miss Renee. This is what happens, right? If someone comes on, they'll ask about 5, 6 questions. And as soon as we get off the phone, I get 25 messages. And I'm just like, what? Why did you just ask the questions while you was there? I don't know if you just don't think about them or you just going through the motions of just listening. But I mean, if you got questions, or you got concerns, or you ever really wanted to know. So we got one question from Mr. Sean, which is a great question, Sean. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any grant for young entrepreneurs? And then after that, I got a follow-up question before we get to Ms. Knight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's several different grant funding opportunities for young entrepreneurs. I do have a couple of them listed on the grant funding list, but you also can do research and you can put in young entrepreneur, teen entrepreneur, put your geographical location. And then when you're doing your research, make sure you put 2024 so you're able to get grants that are specifically for this geographical year, right? The other thing, this year, but the other thing that I wanted to share with you, look for the industry that the young entrepreneur wants to pursue. So I have a client that actually won a grant, and the grant was to teach young people about how to actually become drone pilots. And so it's not only becoming a drone pilot, but it's also, they have an opportunity to get a career as a drone pilot, then also start their own business as a drone pilot. So yes, there are definitely opportunities out there for young people.
Okay. Man, I'm trying to suck up knowledge, and I'm trying to host and learn at the same time, and it's hard because I'm focusing on absorbing knowledge versus interviewing. So okay, what else I'm gonna say? Okay, we'll just answer questions because I forgot what my train of thought. So Ms. Knight says, can you share the master list or website to look up the grants and stuff like that? And then also too, I guess since you kind of talked about that too, I kind of piggyback on what you said, because if you're searching young entrepreneur, teen entrepreneurs, grants, I'm sure that it's really important to search the year as well, because you don't want to get some old stuff that's on some old
Yeah.
websites and be pulling up stuff from like 5 years ago, and it's
Yeah.
irrelevant now. So that's probably why the year is really, really important. That's why I kind of picked up on that when she said that. Like, so okay.
Yeah, and that's why I do the grant list every single month. And I put the link in there. It's at my Stand store where you can actually get a copy of the grant funding list. But each month we do a new list. But then every week we update the grant list with more grant funding opportunities. There's so many opportunities out there. And I had this dream that I want to build out this database where all you have to do is kind of do a little application, and then all the grants that fit you would magically pop up. But guess what? Somebody reached out to me and said they already created it. So that's going to be a great strategic partner for me to work with, where I can kind of load up all these grants and just make it a little bit easy for you as well. But it is a document where you get access to the grants.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. I don't
And
know.
yeah, so Kim has a question saying, after the deadline hour soon, our funds typically out. Yeah, and so what's interesting is each grant funding opportunity will let you know specifically when they're going to make the announcement of who actually won the grant. I love those Hello Skip grants. I don't know if you guys are kind of on his registry also, where you're getting access to his grant list, but he will announce the grant 1 week after the application closes. We love those kind of grants. Typically, they take anywhere from 30 to 60 to 90 days. I haven't had any grant opportunity to take more than like 90 days to kind of pay out once you know that you win. But then also, when you go to my Stand store, I do have a free grant funding tracking form that I'm going to encourage you all to download so that you can track each grant that you're applying for, so you can track the deadline of when they said they're going to make the announcement of who won the grant, and you can just kind of keep your eye out for that opportunity. Why I create that list? Because I had a client that actually ended up winning the Beyonce grant, and it was $10,000 grant, and she had no idea that she won. The award letter was sitting in her spam folder. So they had to call her on the phone and say, hey, you end up winning a grant. So that's kind of why we did we encourage you to do a tracking form where you could be on the lookout for those particular opportunities.
Yeah. Hey, because you don't know what you don't know. I mean, and then also too, they're probably sending out tons of emails too to individuals, and it's probably a lot of that stuff's probably going to spam. And a lot of people don't check their spam until they really have to, or you go through it and you're looking at it and you're like, man, there's so much stuff in here that I missed out on, or opportunities just sitting right there and you didn't even know it. But yeah, that tracker is pretty good. And you said that's on at your Stand store?
Yeah, at my Stand store. So you can get the free budget tool, which is a budgeting document, so you can write out how much money you need and what you need money for. But then you also can get that tracking form and the grant funding list as well. It's on there.
Yeah, I remember at the beginning of your speech, you talked about like all your needs and all your expenses and stuff like that. And it's good to see what other entrepreneurs are probably, oh man, I didn't even really factor this in, or maybe I need to factor this in the future if I really want to grow as an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of looking at your competitors also and looking at how they run their business so efficiently. And there's some things that you can learn from what it is that they're doing, right? To enhance what you're doing as an entrepreneur. You don't know what you don't know. That's why I always say you got to do research on what you're doing so that you count the cost and you know what it's going to cost you to do what it is that you want to do. And the reason why I love grant funding is that, again, you don't pay the money back, but it gives you a chance to stop coming out of your pocket and paying for everything. At what point do you stop doing that? And today is the day that we're going to stop doing that. We're going to get access to some grant funding.
Yeah. All right. It says,
The script.
What's the best script your ChatGPT when writing for grants? Or is it like, okay, go ahead. You kind of.
No. So my script that I use, it depends on what grant I'm applying for. But I start by saying, can you please, always say please in your prompts. Can you please act like a seasoned grant writer with over 10 years of grant writing experience in whatever industry that you are in? I am applying for the Hello Alice grant, and it's a $10,000 grant. Can you help me to answer this question? Then you put the question in, and then you answer the question to the best of your ability because it needs to sound like you. And then once you put the question in, you put the answer in, you use that little paper clip to upload any articles, any podcasts, anything about you so that your bot can get your tone. And then at the end, you say, please be as detailed as possible and answer this question in whatever number of characters the grant said that you have to do it in. 500 characters, 200 characters, you let your bot know how many characters. Then at the end, you say thank you. And then you send your chat bot out there to do what it does, and it will give you back the absolute perfect answer. But it's your job to read through it to make sure it sounds exactly like you.
Someone said, did anybody write this down? Hey, that's why I record it. That's why I record it, because I went like this. Wait, I'm recording this. I will forget that as soon as I wouldn't even, I didn't want to say, hey, slow down. I don't know what you're saying. But you know what's crazy is you must say that a lot, because you had that there,
I
right?
use ChatGPT every single day. Like it's a part of my business model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully by this time tomorrow, I'll have that same spiel down, right?
Amen.
Yeah, right. Not even close. All right, so Ty Green says, when you're applying for grants, what do you always send a proposal with it?
No, no, and no. So there are two different types of grants. You have those federal grants, right, that do require the budget form, they require the proposal, they require more content. But the kind of grants that I just shared with you in the chat, they're called micro grants. And so those grants do not require you to submit a proposal. They require you to answer the questions. So the proposal actually is the grant application. So when you think about how you would answer specific question of proposal, you take those same answers and you put them into the grant application. So no, not every grant requires you to actually submit a proposal. But if they do, they'll be sure to let you know.
Okay, hope that answered your question, Ty. This more so for me now, I'm kind of curious. Okay, so you send out, is it a monthly or a weekly grant list? A
Monthly.
Okay.
And then we update. So once you buy it, we update it. And you get it every week. Yeah.
So if I do, okay. So if I, okay, so if I say if I buy, so it's almost like a newsletter or subscription-ish. And then
Yes.
do y'all update it to what the ones that fall out of date, or just ones that just come available at that moment?
No, so we get rid of all the grants that the date has passed, and we only have those current and upcoming grants. And and we do a membership also. So you can do a monthly membership where you get access to the grant for an entire year. But every month, it will always be a different grant list.
Okay, and then I'm trying to think. Okay, so I get the grant list. So what are the grants specific to like that person, or they're just like generalized for these are nationwide grants, or how do you differentiate what goes on the list and what doesn't?
That's a very good question. So I have a separate list for my international entrepreneurs. So we end up doing a list of 60 grants that was specifically for international entrepreneurs and nonprofit agencies. That's a separate list. But the current list that we have is US-based businesses, and it's all kinds of different industries. Now, I see that someone asked me a question about what's under applied for in grant industry. So what we do is we look for where is the land most abundant? Where are there so many different grant funding opportunities? And we do include some of those industries that are underserved. And so, of course, grants for rural I recently, several months ago, I attended a training from the Department of Agriculture where they were looking for individuals that they needed grant for land. They needed grant for equipment to actually grow. They also were giving funding if you wanted to put a house on that land that you could live in while you're also doing the farming, which was so amazing. They just, I'm from New York. We farming, yeah, whatever. So anyway, it was interesting to me, but anyway, it's for somebody's interested in that. So we do a combination of a lot of different types of grants. So we can't say that like we only do grants specifically for women or specifically for minorities or specifically for construction. It's all kinds of different grants. So you have two things you do. One, you look for those grants that fit you, and then you fit what you do into an opportunity as well. That's how you win.
Okay, and then also too, whenever you're searching for, like you say if you do it on a Friday, you spend 3 or 4 hours that day, you focus on the list that you send out, and then you do the search in your area or in your state for opportunities 2024, and then seeing what's out there, and then just applying the chat GPT, and then apply. It's kind of making sense.
Yeah, it's a system. And a system
Yeah.
save yourself time, energy, and money. That's what system stands for. Save yourself time, energy, and money. So build the system, and you just gave a great system. That's exactly correct.
Yeah, but it seems like you probably, it's gonna take some time, and too, I'm sure sometimes people probably get discouraged too, because they're like, yeah, I've been applying, I'm applying, and I ain't got nothing yet, right? But I guess you only need one, right?
Yeah, and then if you get a rejection letter, then you should go to ChatGPT and you should create a letter that you can send back to them saying, thank you so much for letting me know that I did not win the grant, but can you give me some tips on what I can do to improve my application so that I do become the best candidate to win the opportunity?
Yeah,
And then you take their feedback and you fix your application.
yeah. And then also too, maybe you could take that feedback, and then you can, say, maybe they'll see that and they'll say, okay, well, we had this person last time, they submitted last time, let's give this person an opportunity because they were so professional. Because a lot of people a lot of people don't send them, thank you letters and stuff like that. You'd be surprised, people like, I ain't getting no money, screw you, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and you'll be surprised at the number of entrepreneurs that are submitting applications with errors in them in 2024. Like typos in 2024, when you have access to all these tools that can help to ensure that your answer is perfect.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah, a lot of people saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, all kind of stuff. We got Eric. If you want to take that one, he was talking about, I guess, real estate and buying businesses or grants or really. I mean, you kind of talked about that one a little bit, talking about buying land and then building a house on the land while you farm. I know there's other opportunities in real estate. I know you was talking about some real estate opportunities and all kind of stuff like that, but.
Yeah, there's tons of great funding opportunities when it comes to you wanting to buy real estate, especially in your geographical location. You see that there are these empty buildings, empty places where the city and the state, they want to put businesses in those particular locations. You often can get a grant that can actually help you with the revitalization of that particular location. But then there's also grant funding opportunities out there to buy a business, but you have to be crystal clear of the business that you want to buy. What kind of impact are you going to have in the community with your business? What type of value do you create as an owner of that business, not only for your customers, but for the community? And then the most important thing is, what problem are you solving with that new business that you're actually buying? If you're able to combine those three things plus the impact, then you'll be able to get access to some grant funding to be able to buy a business.
Hey, and like I said, grant funding equals no payback, which we love that.
Yeah.
And if you can identify a problem, find a grant that they're hosting, in opportunities in real estate and or acquiring a business in an underserved community, take that process, and then put it in the package and apply for a grant, you never know. You
Yeah,
never
yeah.
know. They say any tips to stand out?
Yes, it kind of goes back to that quote from Oprah, right? Don't worry about being successful, but work towards being significant, and success will naturally follow. You have to highlight what makes you significant in the marketplace. And Kim, the other thing I want to share with you is that all of my clients, as soon as they start working with me, I have them to create what's called a wins list, where they write down their wins every single day of all the amazing work that they're doing. Kim, there's something that you're doing out there that's so amazing. I can talk to your customers and they'll be able to give me testimonials. We should be keeping a list of all of those amazing things, because that's the kind of content that we want to add to these grant funding applications that's going to make you actually stand out. And then I'm always doing research on what's next. So I'm going to encourage you all, not only Kim, but everybody, that you should be doing a research on your industry and what kind of opportunities are coming about in the year 2030. And is there really a need for you in the year 2030? So remember Blockbusters, and then remember Redbox, right? And then streaming, Netflix. So are you still a Blockbuster where you're doing things from way back when, or are you positioning yourself to be, ahead of the game by actually doing some research on where the need is for your industry, and then creating those products, those services, and those businesses to support that need in the year 2030 and beyond? Did you all know that some people had pandemic insurance? I had no idea what pandemic insurance was. Who knew that there was going to be a pandemic? Obviously, somebody knew. So I just wonder, had I been paying attention and doing research, could I have put myself in a position in order to be able to take advantage of some of those resources and opportunities that are available? But again, do research. Make sure you're standing out from everybody else. Your unique value proposition. That's it.
Yeah, buddy. You talk about you talk about pandemic insurance. It's probably the same guy who bought $500 million on the Twin Tower insurance. I mean, who knows, right? I mean, maybe they knew. I don't know. 8 months prior, they buy a $500 million policy on this building that's already condemned. Hey, whatever, man. But
Yeah,
maybe,
and that's why for what you do, you need to look at technology. AI is not going anywhere. It's just going to get better.
yeah. And I've been really like investing a lot into like the AI stocks and stuff like that now, because
All right.
I think AI is not even remotely as close as it needs to be. Like, it's not even close until we got like robots running around talking to each other and talking to themselves and talking to me. I mean, we ain't even there yet. And one day we probably will, but as of now, we're not. But we'll get there, right? But I don't
And
want
then also look at the other side of that too. Like, why do we go to NBA games and WNBA games and NFL games? Like, we love that interaction when that player actually scores a touchdown and we jump up. You can't replace that with a robot, right? So it's those kind of things where we still need that human interaction, that human connection. How do you make sure you're putting that on 10 as a business owner with your amazing customer service?
yeah. But yeah, let me see. Yeah, I don't want to hold you up too much longer. I know.
Okay, well, I appreciate you allowing me to be here, and I put all my contact information in there. If anybody has any question, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah. She has her website and she has her stand store. And if you want to get on her grant list, um, get on there. And then I'm gonna put this video in the community. We can do the rewatch. And I don't know if I'm gonna have that manuscript of what she just said, but I probably need to get it. I probably just type it down and I probably type it out and put it in like the group chat or something like that amongst us, so we can have that, so we can use that. But I mean, yeah, I want to thank you for coming on. I know you're a busy lady, and I really appreciate you being here. And I'm glad. I mean, you just opened my eyes to a lot of different things, and I was trying to process more than probably host more, because I really wanted to learn, and but
That's fine.
I Especially when I started thinking about, oh, well, you just take that thing that you just said and then you put it in here and you apply it to the list and you cater the list to that, right? But I'm
Right.
sure you probably have a faster way to do that. I don't know if you do or don't.
I do. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, I get you might got a new client, but
Okay. So I can I give one charge
yeah,
to
yeah.
everybody?
Hey, I'll
Can Okay, so my one charge is, can you all make a commitment to apply for one grant in the month of July? Just one. And see that process. So I gave you three. Just apply for one and you'll be shocked. But
what?
thank you for having me.
Hold on, hold on. So apply for the ones you gave them, or just
Why not? Or you can search one also. Matter of fact, let me give you one more that will take you, it will take you less than 5 minutes to apply for this grant. So
how
this
about
is the Galaxy grant, and
okay?
it's $4,250. So you think through, it's a micro grant, right? But you think through what you can do with $4,250, and I challenge you all to apply for that grant. Mm, 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 mm.
You said it takes 5 minutes.
Less than 5 minutes.
All right, people. I mean, let's be real. It's all in the chat. This is boggling. Like, this is
No.
nuts. 5 minutes. I grabbed my phone, right? I almost don't want to get off this. Hold on, I'm gonna copy this. I'll send it to myself. Right?
Yeah, please do.
I'm sure you get some type of excitement too whenever you get your clients or anybody's money. Or you probably get like random text messages or random messages like,
Two
"Oh,
o'clock in the morning, four
yeah.
o'clock in the morning. Yes, all the time. And I love it. I love it. And all they did was apply.
What's the lowest you've ever seen?"
The one
Lowest,
I'm
not necessarily you, just in general, someone you know or heard of hitting, and the highest. I'm just curious.
So the highest would have to be about $10 million in grant funding. The lowest would have to be what I just put in the chat just now, which is the Awesome Foundation. It's $1,000. It
Hey,
would take you 5 minutes to do that grant also. It's a $1,000 grant. And so you think through, what would you do with $1,000? It's money that you don't have to spend coming out your own pocket, right?
yeah.
So there's something you can do. You're going to spend $1,000 on something already within your business. Why not get a grant to be able to do that for you? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and all you gotta do is apply.
That's all you got to do is apply.
Worst they can say is no.
Somebody has to win. Why
Oh,
not you?
okay, I want to say worst they can say is no. Somebody gotta win.
Somebody has to win. Why not you?
Somebody gotta win. Why not you? Okay, well, I'm gonna put this in the group, and then when people want to reach out to you, they know how to find you.
Oh, just apply for the grant, Eric. I wish I could whistle. Yes.
See,
You talk about action.
Eric on it. Damn, that wasn't even 5 minutes. It took less than a minute. Which one did you apply for, Eric? Which one? The Galaxy?
See, grant, $4,250. Let's go. And when you win, please come back and let us know, please. So we can celebrate with you.
Screw celebrate. You finna take us out. And then we're gonna have a budgeting meeting on how you allocate these funds. All right.
Yes, yes, yes.
I
Yeah.
do, and we'll refer. But yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to hold you up too much longer. But
All right. Well, thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
I'll reach out to you too. I'm like wide awake. I know you're gonna go to the casino and you're gonna go to the Hard Rock and get some meat. So
It's my spot. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
all right, no problem. You have a good one. All
Have
right,
a good
y'all.
one. All right.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
All right. All right, y'all. So yeah, so hold on, I'm gonna end this.